Good morning, everyone. Thank you for attending this boot camp presented by American Heritage College. We want to welcome you. Today, we're going to be talking about the idea of branding the self, and we have some great presenters with us. And the first presenter that I want to introduce, which is a great member of the team, she's a business owner, she's just an everything, is Miss Ann Chang, and she's going to be presenting to you. Ann, I'd love to turn the floor over to you, and so you can wow the crowd.
Thank you, Terry. Well, thanks for being on the live stream with us this morning, afternoon, and evening, wherever you are tuning in from. I'm just about to share my screen, and so I hope you guys can see my screen. Today, I'm going to talk to all of you about selling yourself on LinkedIn. I apologize that the slides are with the old format, with our old logo. I apologize for that, but we'll get that sorted during our next stream. So let's talk about LinkedIn. Now, LinkedIn is the world's largest professional network, and it's essential for so many organizations today. Today, you see that you know employers hire through LinkedIn, people network through LinkedIn, sell through LinkedIn. But is optimizing your LinkedIn profile the only way to really learn about selling yourself? That's not the only way to sell yourself. So I'm going to talk to you about something which is lesser known but is very important. How do you sell yourself on LinkedIn such that you optimize LinkedIn's own algorithms? So in order to do that, I'm going to start with telling you about this thing called the Social Selling Index. Now, the Social Selling Index is LinkedIn's own solution. It's an algorithm which LinkedIn uses. Now, if you go to LinkedIn's Social Selling Index, and I can drop the link in the chat box later at the end of this conversation, you can find your score free. Now, if you notice, there are two buttons. One is a Learn More button, and the second button says Get Your Score Free. So if you want to get your score free, that will tell you exactly how to improve your score and be noticed on LinkedIn. Now, how do you rank? It's very important to know how you rank. Your social selling index, you can get a score, and the score, my score at the time that I did this presentation was 73 out of 100. Um, don't be surprised if you start off at a score of 20 or 25. Um, Really, if you've never seen the LinkedIn SSI, starting from a score of 20 or 25, it really doesn't matter. It just presents to you that you have a significant opportunity to grow and do better. Now, how do I optimize my LinkedIn social selling index? Everybody asks me that every day. And they say, do I complete my profile? Will that really make a big difference? And the truth is, completing your profile is less than 25% of that score. Now, the first part is about establishing your professional brand. And by establishing your professional brand, LinkedIn means that you should complete your profile with the customer in mind. Who are you trying to reach? That's a very important thing to consider when you do your LinkedIn profile. If you're trying to reach more employers, it would be useful to complete your profile with the job that you want to you want to get in mind. You will post thought leadership posts, meaningful content pieces about the industry and the trends within that industry particularly. Um, so completing your profile with your objective in mind is extremely important. That's extremely that's the significant thing about establishing your professional brand. So that's 25% of the score on the LinkedIn social selling index. So it's critical for you to be found on LinkedIn. If you have an empty profile, chances are within a week of not updating your profile, you probably will get restricted. So here are some hot tips for how to optimize your LinkedIn profile. Firstly, have a professional picture and a good tagline. Don't now a lot of people put taglines like "I help entrepreneurs do marketing" or "I help people achieve their dreams." Now that is not a professional tagline. A professional tagline is typically your current job and the company you're at. Um, if you're in school still, it's a penultimate student at ABC College, for example. So that is usually the most optimized tagline. Use brief introductions, which isolate the keywords that employers are looking for, and that's critical as well because a lot of people deploy artificial intelligence to be able to find the right profiles in order to hire. And one of the things that people fail to do is they like to enter the companies that they work for, but do not enter the achievements that they have achieved during the tenure of their work, their employment. So enter details of your employment, specifically enter achievements during your employment, and that will optimize your LinkedIn profile. Now, the second part of the LinkedIn Social Selling Index is about finding the right people. And it's really interesting to know that LinkedIn's machine learning um, is optimized when you use the search bar that LinkedIn has. So you have to go into the search bar and search for new companies, search for new people at all times. And that will actually optimize your profile. Reach out to people, add notes for your connection requests, understand and do research about the companies you wish to join, identify the right prospects in less time by using the right search tools. So the search bar is essential to helping you find the right people. And the next thing is engaging with insights. It's important to share relevant content, but there is this thing about sharing relevant content, right? There are some people who just repost content or like other people's posts. It is important to write unique and independent content. Tag the right people, use the right hashtags, follow the right hashtags. That will improve your LinkedIn social selling index significantly. So engage with insights, ensure that you have the right people on your content, and then build relationships. Now, one of the things that I've learned from running a LinkedIn marketing agency is that having real conversations, texting people and asking them how they are, talking to them, that's very important. If you notice, LinkedIn always tells you this person has been promoted, has a new job, has a new appointment, or it's this individual's birthday today. Wish them a happy birthday, congratulate them for a job well done. This will help you build relationships. But LinkedIn does track your conversations on their platform. So if you do write to these people and you're using non-unique um, um, taglines. Say, for example, you say, "Hey, Mindy, how's it going?" And I send Mindy a text on LinkedIn, and I say, "Hey, how's it going? Let's catch up soon. I have been up to this or that." LinkedIn actually knows what you do on the platform, and it helps to boost your social selling index. So find the right people, not just one. Look for many of them and build relationships. It's important to do so. These are some really, really helpful tips for you to boost your social selling index. Now, boosting your social selling index will help you to get noticed, help you to gain the jobs that you want. They will help you to get the customers you need, and also to literally just become a top voice in LinkedIn. So LinkedIn celebrates since its own community members. It's a community of leaders. So you want to be one of the leaders in the community, and improving your social selling index is LinkedIn's own way of telling you this is the best way to do so. So that's it for my presentation. And I'd like to just see if we have a couple of people who would like to share what their commitments will be to improving their social selling index. What have you learned from the session today? And how will you commit to improving your social selling index score? So I noticed that there are a couple of people who are on the line today with us. And Dennis, you seem to be new to American Heritage College. So welcome to American Heritage College. I'd love for you to, if you would be open to sharing, to say, hey, say hi to all the rest of us, and tell us a little bit about you. Okay, maybe why don't I move to Mindy? Mindy, welcome to our course about the social selling index. Have you actually taken a look at your social selling index score, and what is it?
You know, it's been a long time, Anne, and it was very low. I didn't really realize until listening to your presentation how important it was. And I really didn't realize that there were ways that I could improve it, and that it could be that much more powerful. And even a simple thing like changing my tagline and listing my achievements, I can do that today. It never occurred to me that it would make that much difference, but it's good to know that now. I'm feeling much more positive and in control and excited about it.
Absolutely. Well, Mindy, congratulations, and I'm grateful that you're able to find some practical use of the information presented. Shahina, what about you?
Yes, it was very similar feedback to Mindy. I found that the presentation was really useful, and you sort of highlighted different ways to use LinkedIn. So I didn't really understand it was important to sort of engage in a personal level. That I found really interesting. I think we tend to see different social media platforms in different ways, and I've always sort of just branded LinkedIn as that professional thing. But now that you've mentioned that, I think it's something I'll do more of. Also, yes, you're right. You tend to just say where you've worked, but you know, it's a really helpful tip to actually elevate your profile by saying what you did there. And it seems like a logical thing to do, but on your CV you do that, but on LinkedIn you tend to just put the basics. So thank you. I found it really interesting.
Yes, I would say the same. I think it's interesting that there's little things like, again, wishing somebody a happy birthday. I didn't ever think about how that could increase the, your visibility and all of that on LinkedIn. Now, and again, I apologize if you did. Do hashtags, when you're sharing that, do they improve your selling index at all?
Yes, sir. So when you use the right hashtags, people will be able to interact with your content a little bit better. So there are people who follow specific hashtags. So if you hashtag American Heritage College, for example, it may not be as useful, but if you hashtag something like higher ed, for example, or you hashtag leadership skills or knowledge broker, these hashtags will reach a higher number of people. And it also, if you tag the right people, say you tag people who you know who are professional knowledge brokers, if you tag people you know who are career coaches, that kind of interaction will go into their feed and it will be featured to their networks. So it's a exponential accumulative effect. So hashtagging and tagging people are two extremely powerful tools to help you get found and get seen on LinkedIn.
Wonderful. And so I do have another question when it relates to hashtags, because I was thinking about this in a conversation I had with a colleague. And that was, you know, what's a tool maybe that would help with thinking about what hashtags to use? Because I do know that LinkedIn gives you suggestions, but I'm always thinking that for some reason I'm going to miss a specific group. Is there anything that maybe your organization or you have done to make sure you're hitting all those particular hashtags to get maximum effort?
So what I would do is search for trending hashtags on LinkedIn. It's quite an easy search to do.
Okay.
And that will actually help you to interact better. Especially when you have trending hashtags to do with global events. For example, right now, everybody's talking about the ship that's run aground in the
Yes.
Suez Canal, and the memes following from that are massive. So by having trendy and timely content, it's very, it will get you noticed in a significantly better way. And you know, also having independent thought, not jumping into the trend of, you know, just resharing posts. It's have your own independent thought and say, hey, you know, I'd like to this is my opinion, this is what I think we can learn from it. So stuff like that, that's very important. That will help you grow your following as well and build your personal brand.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And with that, because I'm actually going to open it up for anybody to ask questions, so that you can learn how to improve your social selling index. Again, let's say that LinkedIn is your professional community. Remember that posting professional content is important. So a lot of people post memes on LinkedIn. That's not the place to post memes. But posting interesting and fun content is important. Things that will engage your audience, but you must know who your audience is right up front.
Does if we create a group, and again, maybe this is a strange question, but it's still something I always want to ask. If I create a group or join a group, does that, I'm thinking of the algorithm points or whatever, does that increase your selling index by creating a group and being like the moderator or the, you know, again, I don't know. Is that something that can boost somebody by actually being the person that creates a group?
That's a great question, Terry. So LinkedIn for the longest time has not paid attention to their own groups. It was a nice feature to have. They never quite used it as part of the algorithm. I will say that having moderated and created several closed groups and exclusive groups, it has not improved my social selling index score. I have, but there are content from some larger groups which are professionally managed that you can share on your own feed, or you can share within a group to get a captive audience. It does not impact your social selling index, however.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I was wondering, Anne, are there particular professions or industries that are most active on LinkedIn?
It's a superb question. I will say that you'll be quite surprised to see there is a significant following in the financial services group, the internet technology group, and the marketing and advertising group. In the US, you'll see a lot of real estate players, construction players. Although I never knew this, but about 10% of the community are in real estate and construction, which is a significant number given that they only make up about 3 to 4% of global domestic gross domestic product. So that's an interesting fun fact for us. The technology startups, internet services, marketing and advertising solutions, the digital side of things. These are very active groups and industries within LinkedIn. And predominantly, they're the ones who live for LinkedIn.
It seems like entrepreneurs would really benefit from LinkedIn.
Yes, so in the US, about 300,000 SMBs exist in the US alone, and about more than half of them are actually solopreneurs. So when we talk about solopreneurs, they either are the individuals or the individuals and their spouse being in the organization. A lot of them use LinkedIn to run their businesses, to try to acquire new customers, and not many of them actually do it very well.
Very interesting.
That's why you're here, right, Anne?
Oh, that's what I do for a living.
Wonderful. Dennis, Mr. Abdi, Shahina, do you guys have any questions or any information that maybe Miss Ann could help answer for you?
Yes, I have one, if I may.
Yes.
Anne, in terms of your contacts on LinkedIn, is that a big part of your overall rating? And when you connect to influencers, does that change anything?
It's a superb question, Shahina. So the number of connections does not actually affect your score, but what you do with those connections affects your score. So if you have 20,000 people on connections on your LinkedIn, doesn't make a difference. It just allows you to get onto some of their feeds. However, if you have 20,000 connections and you literally have zero content, zero messaging, zero anything, your social selling index is likely to be very low. If you have 1,000 connections, but you talk to all of them on a daily basis, you post out interesting and thoughtful articles and thought leadership content, your social selling index is likely to be very high. So it's really not about the quantity, but about the quality of what you do on LinkedIn that is being tracked. So LinkedIn, in a sense, is an animal that likes to be touched. It's not an animal that likes to be given a lot of food. It's not supposed to be fed. It's supposed to be loved. So if you think of it that way, that's the way LinkedIn is as an animal.
What a great analogy.
I know. I love that analogy. That was great. Thank you.
Yeah, it's more of a dog rather than a cat, if that makes sense.
Oh, that definitely. Thank you. Yes, that makes a very, yes, clears it up for me. I will say that.
All right.
All
So,
right.
well, I hope this has been informative for everybody. And if you'd like to, ask me anything, feel free to drop me an email. I am at acheng, ACHENG, at AmericanHeritageCollege.com.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Anne, for being with us today. And we will be back in just a few moments where we will have our next speaker to present to everyone. I hope you've enjoyed this presentation, and we'll be back and see you soon.